Well, hello, writers. Welcome to episode number 358 of How Do You Write? I'm Rachael Herron, and I am so pleased that you're here with me today as we are talking to Olesya Salnikova Gilmore. And this was awesome. It was such a fun conversation. We talk about method acting to get into a point of view. We talk about the difficulties of research. We talk about the joy of a debut novel, which is something that I always like to make sure that I talk about with my guests who have a brand new, sparkly, first time ever book coming out. So that is coming up in the interview portion. What has been going on around here? Well, as I mentioned in the mini episode that I also just recorded, I fell down a hill and hurt my butt. It's so embarrassing to have an injured buttock, just one, just the right one, and be unable to sit for days and days. I was obviously unable to drive. I was unable to stand. All I could do was lie on my side and try to keep the puppy from bouncing on it. Ugh, and my stomach hurts thinking about that pain right now. But it was a pretty bad fall. Well, you know what? It was a fine fall. It was just my butt. I didn't hurt my head. I didn't hurt my hands. I didn't, nothing broke. So I don't know about the coccyx, but you can't do anything about that. Coccyx? Coccyx? No. Anyway, coccyx, I think it is. So I've been recovering from that and trying to rest, and it's annoying. And what else has been going on? There's progress. There's motion on 7 Miracles, the book that I wrote last year. And I can't talk about it yet, but there is sudden motion on it. So that's interesting and exciting. And I have been finishing up my Patreon essay for this month with it, which is about the dog. And in that essay, which you can look at for $1 a month if you wanted to over at patreon.com/Rachel, and ad read. In that essay, I realized something that has been kind of feeling really strange and weird and has been weighing on me, which is for the last few years, I've had some pretty big ass goals. They have been sell our house, sell everything we own. Well, sell a lot, most of what we own, move around the world, find a city we love, rent an apartment, make some friends, buy a house, and get a pet. We've done all those things, and I don't know what the next big adventure is. And I was talking about it with my wife last night, and she's also having the same feelings, like this weird, like, what do we do now? We paint the kitchen? Like, is that our big adventure? And I don't know what the big adventure. We went on a great walk. It is an interesting existential place to be. Maybe, I hate this. The thought that has just flitted through my mind is maybe it is just time to be still and to listen and to enjoy and to kick back. Oh, I don't like any of that. I just told you how much I hated being in bed for 3 days with a sore buttock. Buttock is such a funny word. Yeah, so I don't know what that answer is. And that is, I explored just a tiny little bit in that essay. And really, the essay is about Junebug, Professor Junebug, our little dog. But so I've been writing that, but I really have been thinking about this idea of what is next and what does that look like in terms of books. And I know I keep coming back to this question, but I don't have a clear answer because I have so many books in the wings waiting to land, and I need to be working on production of those. But I'm also always writing. And what do I want that writing to be right now in my 500 words a day, which I still love? Right now, that looks like whatever is pulling me that day. Is that okay? Because it's really fun, but it's not adding up to anything. What would I tell a student? I would tell a student, that sounds amazing. Just keep doing that, following your gut, writing what you want to write, finding delight in that, and moving forward. Thanks, Rachel. I appreciate the pep talk. Yeah, so I guess I'm doing that. And that is where I am with writing right now. And it's fun. I feel content and also restless. And that's, I think, normal for me. All right, so that's what's going on around here. I would like to thank new patron, Catherine Bellinger. I wish for you to be moving down the road in whatever the way you best like to move. and that you see something that dazzles your soul. May it hit you like a rainbow to the heart, and may you recognize it for the miracle that it is right in that sparkling moment. And also may you know that that transcendent moment is just for you. And now that I've spoken that out loud, maybe Catherine, you would just send me a quick email when you see that dazzling rainbow to the heart that is just for you. Let me know what it is, because now I'm curious about what it will be. Let us jump into the fabulous interview with Olesya. Okay, here's her bio. Olesya Salnikova Gilmore was born in Moscow, Russia, raised in the US, and graduated from Pepperdine University with a bachelor's in English and political science, and from Northwestern University School of Law with a JD. She practiced litigation at a large law firm for several years before pursuing her dream of becoming an author. She is happiest writing historical fiction and fantasy inspired by Eastern European folklore. She lives in a wooded lakeside suburb of Chicago with her husband and daughter. The Witch and the Tsar is her debut novel. Please enjoy this interview, and happy writing, all of you. Well, I could not be more pleased to welcome you to the show today. Hello, and will you please share your name and your pronouns with us?
Hi, Olesya Salnikova Gilmore. Very excited to be here, and I'm she, her.
Thank you very much. Well, your book, The Witch and the Tsar, is kind of blowing up. I have seen it on Book Talk, where I spend maybe a little bit too much time. And I just wanted, this is your debut, right?
Yes.
And as we speak, it's been out for about 2 months.
2 months. Yeah,
How has it
yesterday.
felt? Yeah, it's yesterday. Yes. How has it felt to be a debut author? What is the whole journey been like? I love hearing this.
It's really wild. I mean, the way I would describe it is it's just like being on a roller coaster really, really fast. And but it's kind of up and down as well, like a roller coaster. So I feel like you are so high some moments, and then some moments have their disappointments, or things that maybe could have been different. But overall, it's just an amazing journey, just because at the end of the day, you see your book in a store or you see your book online, and someone tags you and say they really loved it and enjoyed it. And nothing else matters. It's you made someone happy. And I think
Yeah.
that has been just one of the most amazing experiences that I saw, happening to other authors. And I would be like, oh, that's so exciting. Like, people are actually reading their book and loving it. And so to see, people reading the book, liking the book, reviewing the book, and just enjoying it and having fun with it has just been the most amazing. And of course, working with my team, I can't forget that. They've just been amazing. And this is so much more than I ever expected myself. So it's really, it's really amazing. So.
Oh, I love that. I love the joy
Yeah.
on your face too as you're talking about it. What does your writing process look like day to day? How, where, and how? And tell me about that.
So I am very much I do my work during the business hours. I am a former lawyer, or yeah, I used to practice law.
There's
So
so many
I'm very
the
much,
lawyer to writer
yeah,
pipeline is like a direct shot, in so many ways.
it's true, because honestly, we have preparation, the writing, the research, the tenacity, and the hard work for sure that it takes to succeed in both is very similar. But that's what really got me used to working hard and to working during the business hours. Like, that's still my
Mm.
most productive. So usually I'll start around 9:30. I work in my office only. I can't work anywhere else. I'm most focused, switch on some music. That's how I focus on, the writing and the work. And then I usually in the morning start with either some social media, some emails, reviewing the work from the day before, which I do. People tell you not to edit your work, but I always edit my work, and I prefer it that way.
And we get to do what
And
we
then the
want in
afternoon
this
is really for
business.
the
Yes.
Exactly. You do what works for you. That's what I've
Yeah.
learned.
Yeah.
So usually afternoon is for, doing the new work. So right now I'm editing my second novel. So I'll do the heavy substantive edits in the afternoon. And I try to finish around 6 or 7, or I've been working very hard to not work at nights, to really get at that life work balance a little more,
Mhm.
because I think definitely being a lawyer, being in the legal industry taught me to overdo it sometimes. So I think I've really been focusing on, I work during the week. And then I just read and spend time with family and do some mental health, I guess, like
Mhm.
meditation over the weekends. So I've been really working on that.
That sounds incredibly healthy and well done you. Like, I know it probably doesn't work
Most of
out like
the
that
time, it's not working.
on it. It's our goal. It's our goal. Yes.
It is. Yeah, no, but during the week but I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky in that, I had my mom helping with my daughter who's a year and a half. And then I finally have a nanny now. So
Yeah.
having that childcare really, I mean, I'm very lucky, obviously. And it helps me, to have that time to write, but you write whenever you can. And in the past, I've written during lunch breaks when I was working, at night, on the weekends. I mean, you do what you have to and what works
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. What is your biggest challenge when it comes to writing?
Biggest challenge is probably I'll get technical here, the research. Just because I frankly don't enjoy it very much. I am too restless. Because you have this idea, I just want to get to the writing, I want to get to the meat. But it's obviously very important, especially in historical fiction fantasy. You have to research to know what you're talking about. And, I do enjoy parts of it. It can be really fun, especially if you're reading an interesting book or learning something new that maybe you didn't know before, and it's exciting and will really bear weight on the story. But yeah, that's my biggest challenge. I think I always like, it takes me a bit like not to rush it, and I always just have to tell myself it's okay, like you'll start when you start, you'll kind of
So you're
pace
doing
yourself.
the bulk of the research before the book. Are you also researching
Mm.
as you're writing the book? Do you kind of
Yeah,
flip it
so
back and forth?
yeah, frequently I'll have like a list of the books I need to read for a given topic. I'll do probably half, like the most important that I need to
Mm,
write the
mhm,
story. I'll write it, and then I'll kind of do research on breaks. So I'm
mhm.
still actually not done, even though I have a draft already. I'm already editing book 2, but I still have some research to do. So
Yeah.
I plan to do that as soon as I'm done editing. And so it's kind of an endless process. It really can be endless. Yeah.
What
That's
is
why I
your
hate it. That's why I hate it.
what is your biggest joy when it comes to writing, not the research?
Not the research. I love drafting. I'm very strange in that way because I love that blank page. To me, it's filled with possibility.
That's
At
terrifying
that
to me. That's
Yeah, I know most writers that I talk to, they're like, "You're crazy." But I love it. And part of the reason why I love it, honestly, is that I'm usually very well prepared. By the time I start writing, I've done some research. I know what I'm talking about. I sort of, have planned out the book. So I have an outline, I have character profiles, I have, a synopsis of the
mm,
story, which is about 3 to 4 to 5 pages long. So I'm usually prepared, and usually it's not like as terrifying, I think, as I think like pantsers
yeah.
have it. But I will tell you this, with my book 2, the drafting was really hard. It was really, I don't know why. I think people tell me it's the book 2.
I had a
What
bad
I
book
forget
to
what it's.
blues. Yeah.
It is, yeah, and I hear that from like everyone I talk to. They're like, yeah,
Mhm.
it's been a slog. That's how it was for me, honestly. And I'm really enjoying the editing now. Like, I feel like I got
Yay.
some good feedback from my critique partner, from my agent, got some good feedback. I'm just like, okay, I actually know what I want to do with it. It's been fun. So I'm actually really enjoying this editing process.
Oh, I love that in your
Yeah.
answer to that, you said, I love the first draft and I love the editing draft. That's so cool.
Yeah,
Can you share
exactly.
a craft tip of any sort with us?
Yes. So actually this is the one that is like my favorite to share
Ooh, I can't wait.
because yes, because so I reached it myself, but I saw this talk given by Madeline Miller, who's of course the acclaimed
Yeah.
author of Song of Achilles and Circe. And she put it like the best way. She said, I changed my writing when I started to pretend to be one of my actors, because she's into theater as well, when I'm like pretending to act and I'm that character. And I loved that because that's what I've reached
Ooh.
during my writing process myself is I'm not going to just say, oh, this is a DPOV. I'm going to DPOV it. I'm going to actually get into my character set and pretend to be them.
Like method acting, but for writing.
Yes, yes, exactly. And as soon as I started doing that, I did some theater myself in the past and I love that. It's so much more fun because you're pretending, you're imagining, you're pretending, what does this character feel? What do they hear? What do they, and I have this list that I go through for every scene I start still. I said, okay, I'm going to ground myself. What am I seeing right now? What am I feeling? What am I hearing? What am I touching? Like it's just, and it leveled up my
Wow.
writing. Yeah.
Wow. That is
It
so
changed my
interesting.
writing.
How long does it take you to get into that, like to do that little process of going through the questions and grounding yourself?
Well, right now it's more natural. It used to take me a
Mhm.
long time. I started a scene, I would start a scene and I would just kind of go through the questions. It would take me like maybe half an hour or
Mhm.
15 minutes, 20 minutes. I mean, I would have to like research, things sometimes like, oh, what does this smell like? I forgot, like
Mhm.
just silly things like that. But now I've just gotten into the practice of it that I really just right away, okay, I'm starting a scene. I'm focused. I know what I'm doing. Okay, go, and now it's like much more natural. Yeah, it's a good
That is
exercise.
such an exciting tip, and it's one I've never heard,
Yeah.
and I will try it because I'm one of those people who I forget to put in any detail whatsoever about their bodies and about where they are in
Yeah.
space until a later draft.
Mhm.
So that sounds so cool. Thank you for sharing that. That was
Yeah.
absolutely
It
one I've
really,
never heard.
yeah, and it really helps with not only like getting deep into the POV, which is really important for today's fiction, and
Mhm.
it's really important regardless of what genre you're working on in, and or what POV. Like you're in third, you're in first, you're still getting that deep POV, or else a lot of readers just won't,
Right.
identify with your writing. And I think it's like made not only the POV more effective that I write in, but also honestly the character development, like really getting deep
Absolutely.
into the character. Hmm.
And are you doing
Yeah.
multiple points of view for this book, or is it the one?
Well, that's a really fun question because I was doing 3 points of view in first person. And then I
Wow.
had a freak out. Well, I call it a freak out. And after I got some feedback from my agent, and she said, so it's about two sisters. And she said, the sisters, they're not really different. You need to make them more different. And I'm like, I need to change tense. I need to change POV. So actually, I've been changing the tense from first past to third present.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
so cool. Oh, that
it's
is so cool.
really, it's madness, but I think it's working. Like I think I have a good feeling about it. So I think I'm on the right track.
That's a hard change to make though. One of
Mhm.
my drafts, I remember I went from first to third. So I had a lot of like, she looked out at my shoes like later
Yeah,
on because I'd missed
I
the one.
just fixed that. Yep, half an hour ago, I just fixed one just like it. Yeah.
Exactly. What is the kindest thing that anyone has ever done for you in your writing?
Oh my gosh, the kindest thing has got to be hands down, um, people reading my writing, especially when it was terrible. And I completely shout out to my sister, who was one of my first readers, my husband, and they actually encouraged me instead of being like, "This is crap." So what are you
Yeah.
doing? And my best friend, my critique partner and best friend, she's been there for me from the beginning. And then of course my beta readers actually, so they were one of the first in the writing industry to take a look at my writing objectively, to be honest, provide really good feedback that I then really used. And I'll, spending their time, like that is just such a rare thing, especially people having day jobs and responsibilities, life responsibilities, that it's really incredible when someone takes the time to, read your work, review your work, critique it, give great feedback, talk to you about it, answer all your questions. I mean, these are the people that really helped me so much just by donating their time,
And
and knowledge and expertise. Yeah,
what a huge gift to give anyone, just like you said, like
absolutely.
with the busyness of the rest of our lives to do that. But I will say
Yeah, yeah.
that I was just thinking about, because I don't beta read for many people, but I have a couple
Hmm, hmm.
close friends that, we always
Yeah.
exchange manuscripts, and those are the ones that I read. And there's something
Hmm.
really delicious about reading another writer's work for that. And not only do you go deep into their book, but you get to think about it and
Hmm.
get to think like, oh, I get to help this person. So
Yeah. No,
that's fun too.
it's awesome. Like, and
Yeah.
to see them improve from manuscript to
Yeah.
manuscript. I now only switch manuscripts for now with my critique partner, just because
Mhm.
time.
Yep. Yep.
um but yeah, it was incredible. I actually just read her new book, and it was really amazing because it actually helped me think through my book. So it was
Oh, I
actually
love
quite
that.
selfish. And
Yes. Yes.
I
Yes.
was telling her the other day, I'm like, I figured out this because I read your book, and it
Yeah.
really allows you to look at your own writing.
It's
Hmm.
one of the best things. That's amazing.
Yeah,
What's the
yeah.
kindest thing you've ever done for yourself as a writer?
For myself. Yeah, so I think that has to do with definitely being kinder to myself.
How do you do it? Tell us.
I really don't know. I've actually had this like peaceful wave come over me lately though, like the last couple of weeks lately. Like this is like no, but I mean seriously, it's forcing myself to stop at 6 or 7, spend time with my daughter when I could be going, to eat at a reasonable hour instead of eating at 10. I'm still not very good at that. I'm very European in that way because I eat really late. No, but I mean, just being kind to yourself and, making time for like other things besides for writing. I think, especially after law, I was really used to that's how life is. Life is work. That's it. That's it. And I would give up everything for it.
Mm,
And while I've done some of that in publishing, just because it's taken a long time, long journey to get here, but I am now trying to just approach that balance between life and writing better. And I think that really is the kindest thing you can do for yourself. That's why I'm trying to not work on the weekends. That's why I'm trying to spend more time with family, mental health. All of that is really important. And I think the other thing that's really important, especially when you're but at all stages of the process, of the publishing process and writing process, I think it's so important to not put so much pressure on yourself, not say, I'm going to do this much and I have to do this much, or I'm going to stay up all night and do it. It just doesn't do you any favors, and you're still going to
yeah.
finish when you finish. And the outside world, reviews, sales, all of that, it just you really want to control it, but you can't. So it's really stressful. But I think the kindest thing you could do for yourself is just say, this is out of my control. I can't do
Oh,
anything about it.
yes.
I'm going to not look at my reviews.
Yes.
I'm trying not to
Oh
do
my God.
that.
Good for you. Yes. Publishing is the one thing in my life that has taught me more than anything else
Mhm.
to release my control freak tendencies,
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
have to, you'll just
you have
exhaust
to.
yourself and run yourself into the
Mhm,
brick wall.
mhm.
That's
And just with
beautiful.
worry, with
Yes.
worry. I
Yes.
mean, you can worry about everything. The writing, this book isn't going well.
Mhm.
Sales aren't as what I want them to be. Reviews aren't what they. I mean, it's all
Or
this stuff that.
or you could just show up and do some work tomorrow and let it go,
Yeah.
and I
Yes.
say that as if it is
Yes.
easy, and that it is impossible, but
It's
but
really
it is one of
hard.
those things we try over and over and
Mhm.
again to pick up and remember. That's gorgeous. Thank you.
I
Or
mean, no, but like really, I think remembering why we're doing this. Actually, I was talking to
yeah.
my critique partner yesterday, and she has a lot of family coming into town for Thanksgiving and all that, and just she's working on edits and all that, and she said to me, "I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do that." I'm like, "Listen, your family's coming in. Relax. You'll get it done. Like you can't stress. Just remember why you're doing this. Because really, when I remember why I'm doing this, it's the writing. It's not the other noise.
Yeah.
It's the writing. That's what it's
It's the
about.
story. It's about getting that
It's
story
the
that's
story.
inside us out.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it
Out.
will always,
Mhm.
always take longer than we think. And it will always get done.
Absolutely.
But it's
Mhm.
it's release that too. Oh, okay.
Ooh,
I'm finding this
yeah.
very inspiring. Speaking of inspiring, what is
Mhm.
the best book that you have read recently and why did you love it?
Well, hands down, The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas.
She was on the show a month or two ago. Wasn't that a gorgeous book?
I seriously, and she's just a really nice person too, like
She
very friendly,
is.
very supportive. And I don't know her that well, but she's very friendly and supportive. And I just loved that book. I think I loved it because it's just a great piece of modern Gothic fiction.
Hmm.
It's just done so well, but with a modern flair. The suspense is wonderful. The creepy factor is wonderful. The house is, I mean, just everything was wonderful about that book to me. And my next book is actually Gothic fiction as well. So I learned
Mm.
so much from Isabel. I actually told her, I'm like, this got me out of my reading slump, my writing slump, everything. Like it's just a great book.
Oh, and I bet she'd love to hear that too. Yeah,
I think she did. Yeah, yeah.
that is wonderful. And we're all
Mhm.
Penguin Random House sisters, right?
Yes,
She is too?
actually,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's Berkeley.
She's
Yep.
Berkeley. You're Berkeley.
hmm Yep.
Are you done? Yeah,
Yep.
I'm done.
What about you? Oh, you're
Done.
Dutton. Okay.
Yeah. That's so
Nice.
cool. Oh, awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of your publisher and where we
Mhm.
are, can you please tell us about your book? Give us a little log line if you don't mind.
Sure. So as you said, my book is a debut. The Witch and the Tsar is a reimagining of the immortal and maligned Slavic witch of legend, Baba Yaga, as she risks all to save her country and her people from Tsar Ivan the Terrible in 16th century Russia.
Can you say the her name again? Because we've heard in the West, we've heard Baba Yaga, and that's not what you said. You
Yeah.
said something really beautiful. Can you say it again?
Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga. Okay, I never knew it
Yeah.
was pronounced that way.
Honestly, and I need to look this up as well, but I heard that Baba Yaga is actually the pronunciation of other Slavic cultures. And so
Interesting.
I don't want to minimize their
Right.
pronunciations, but in Russian, as I've heard it, it's
Yeah.
a Baba Yaga. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, and that's amazing.
Thank you.
And let's see, what do I want to ask? What do you miss about that book now that it is out in the world?
That's a really good question. I miss the characters, I think.
Mm.
Just the whole world that I built. I was actually just talking to my husband about it this weekend. We were talking, sometimes we talk about future projects. He talks everything with me. He's not a writer, but he will listen to everything. He is a really good, he's got a very good sense for storytelling because he
Mm.
loves comics, video games,
That's my
movies,
that's my
superhero
wife.
movies.
She's the
Yeah,
perfect person to talk to, but she's super into comics and graphic novels and she
exactly.
understands story
Yeah.
structure because of that.
Mhm,
Go on,
mhm,
please.
So that's amazing to have because you have
Hmm.
that sounding board always. But he's not like entrenched in it as I
Yes.
am, which is thankfully great. So anyways, we were talking about like future books and all that. And I was like, well, I want to do this and this and this and this. And he's like, but do you want to do another? You got, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm not there yet, but I'm like, yeah, I do because I really miss her. I miss Yaga. I
Um,
miss the characters. Like, I feel like out of all the characters I made, and I love my book characters now, but there was something really special about these characters. Maybe it was because it's the first time that characters came alive for me,
mhm.
as they did, was this Baba Yaga book. And I just miss the world, the magic, the folkloric aspects. Like my
Mm.
husband was showing me this video game that he saw that's based on Norse folklore, I believe, or mythology. And I was like, oh, forests, creatures. Ooh, I really miss it. I miss it. I want more. I want to write
Oh,
more. So it's really, I think, just the world, the magic of it, and the folklore, just making something your own. It's really amazing.
making something your own. And that
Mm,
is what we
mm,
do as writers. We make
mm,
something that is
mm,
so our own and we live in it
yeah.
and then we let it go.
We
Then
let it
we,
go into the world.
it's
Ah.
horrible.
It's
And
horrifying. It's
it's the,
horrifying.
it's the best also. Thank you so
Yes.
much for being on the show. Where can
Yeah.
people find you out on the internet?
Well, usually if you Google me, Olesya, even if you just do Olesya, my first name, Olesya Gilmore, Gilmore, you will just find me. OlesyaGilmore.com is my website, and you can find a list of all the retailers for my book, which is, of course, out now. And my newsletter as well, which you just sign up to, especially since we don't know the Twitter situation
Oh,
happening. So keep in touch.
I
And
noticed that like
yeah,
I put together a Mastodon the last time
yeah,
I hated Twitter
yeah,
5 years ago or something like
yeah.
that. And I don't even know how to log in, but I keep getting emails that people
Oh,
have joined my Mastodon.
yes. Oh my gosh, I've been seeing that. And the Hive, I think, the
Yeah, I
Hive
saw that one
and
too. I remember
some
vaguely.
others. Well, I'm
Oh,
still not on them, but I'm still on
yeah.
Twitter. I plan to be on Twitter unless something unpleasant happens. I'm
And
Olesya
newsletters
Author
are
on
great.
Twitter.
Okay.
Newsletters are great. Yes, on Twitter, on Instagram, and Facebook. I'm Olesya
Okay.
Author.
Thank you, Lisa. It's been a delight to
Yeah.
talk to you today, and I wish you very continued happy writing.
This was so lovely. Thank you so much for having me.